Right, we're going to start with strikers. They're in demand in this transfer window. None more so, it would appear, than Eintracht Frankfurt's Hugo Ekitike. James Green is here to tell us more. Right, OK. What's the latest on him?
So latest today is that Liverpool have made contact with Eintracht Frankfurt over a deal for Hugo Ekitike. Now, if we go back to yesterday, we broke news and told you news that Liverpool were considering a move for Ekitike. Now they've made contact with Frankfurt. There's also Newcastle had a £70 million offer rejected by Frankfurt for the France striker. 23 years old, had an unsuccessful spell, to say the least, at Paris Saint-Germain, but he's relit his career in the Bundesliga, and only after signing for £14 million, Frankfurt are demanding a fee around £85 million for his services. So you've now got two clubs competing with each other. We know Newcastle are aware of Liverpool's interest in the striker. It also comes a day after Liverpool declared their interest in Newcastle striker Alexander Isak, a player that Newcastle describe as being not for sale. He is outplayed, he's got a 3-year contract still. We expect him to stay at St James's Park. I think with this one, there's plenty more to go on it, and I'm intrigued to see whether Liverpool are moving on Ekitike because they know they can't get Alexander Isak, or whether they're choosing to go for Ekitike to kind of push Newcastle into maybe doing business at what would be another British transfer record for Alexander Isak.
I guess if Newcastle sold Isak, they'd get loads of money so they could get Ekitike and others. We will see. Granit Xhaka, I mentioned this in the headlines. Is he really coming back to the Premier League? And if he is, where could he go?
Well, it surprised a lot of us in the office actually today when this came out that Sunderland are interested in Granit Xhaka and bringing him to the North East. Now, 32-year-old with vast experience, as we know, through his time at Arsenal in the Premier League, over 130 caps for Switzerland and part of that invincible team at Bayer Leverkusen under Xabi Alonso. He spent 2 years in Germany. Maybe with Ten Hag coming in, a new era at Bayer Leverkusen, he's looking for a new challenge. Sunderland keen to bring him to the Premier League, but they're not the only suitors. There is interest from Saudi Arabia, particularly newly promoted Neom FC. So that's, again, one to watch. I think there's going to be a lot of competition. If Granit Xhaka is available, it won't necessarily just be newly promoted clubs to the Premier League looking at him. I can imagine quite a few others, not just in the Premier League, not just in Saudi, but across Europe looking at his services.
Is anyone looking at the services of Omari Hutchinson at Ipswich?
Yeah, this is an interesting one yesterday. So this is a fascinating story in terms of transfers in particular. That we're going to change. We're going to change the screen to Omari Hutchinson at some point. Look, yesterday there was a deadline of 5 p.m. and Omari Hutchinson had a relegation release clause in there of £35 million. Just before that deadline, Brentford had made previous number of approaches. They made an approach worth £35 million. But the structure of that deal and the payment structure wasn't aligned with Ipswich, so they rejected the offer. So at the moment, Omari Hutchinson is staying at Ipswich Town. Now, Ipswich want the player to stay. They want him to help them propel themselves back to the Premier League after a really successful season. Just 21 years old, England under-21 champion in the summer, of course, James. As well. He's a great, I think he's superb.
He's a player.
And he moved from Arsenal to Chelsea to Ipswich. He wants to play at the highest level. And that's where I think Ipswich are going to have a hard time keeping hold of an ambitious player who wants to play at the top of the game. So it's now down to whether Brentford, who still remain interested, are able to structure payments maybe slightly different that will favour Ipswich, where they go, you know what, that works for us, we'll make this deal happen. Regardless, Ipswich are going to make a profit on the player they only signed 12 months ago, if they choose to let him go.
We've spoken a lot about Arsenal in the last week or so, about bringing players in. Are they going to keep and tie down Ethan Nwaneri?
Yes, Mike, they're going to do it. And for Arsenal fans, so much of this window has been about incomings, it's about transfers. They've been very busy. There's plenty of potential transfers to come on the horizon. But what Arsenal have been doing in between this summer has been tying down players to long-term deals. Miles Lewis-Skelly signed a new contract in June. Gabriel signed a new contract in June too. Ethan Nwaneri had 1 year left on his contract. He's only 18 years old, but he's committed to Arsenal. We understand that talks are at a very advanced stage between both parties. They're both very keen to get this done, and it's going to be a long-term contract. We're just literally at this phase now of waiting for an announcement from the club. But really good news for Arsenal as a club, really good news for the fans. This is a talented young player. We're talking about a lot of talented young players today. This is one of them, nominated for PFA Young Player of the Year this season. Youngest ever player to play in the Premier League at 15 years and 181 days. So Arsenal tying him down, long-term deal, 4 to 5 years is what is being talked about.
Don't blame them. James Green keeping us right up to date with transfers. Thank you, James.